Chapter 134. The Breaking Point. Thousands of years ago, Denka wandered the surface of the earth, his heart completely consumed by hatred. As he passed through the outskirts of the Water Kingdom, he paused, his gaze locking onto three local women. The women shrank back, looking at him with deep concern and unease at the dark, predatory way he stared. Denka's lips pulled back into a sickening, evil smile. A second later, blood-curdling screams echoed through the quiet valley. Meanwhile, back in the ruined sanctuary, Ch134 sat in a state of crippling depression and grief over his brother's dark transformation. Maybe I was mistaken, Ch134 whispered to himself, clutching his head. What do I do now? Returning to Shinkai-sama after all of this? It's impossible. He stared down at the obsidian stone, resting in his trembling palm, completely lost and devoid of answers. Many days later, high above the clouds, Denka hovered over the planet, looking down with absolute disgust. Time to leave this trash planet, he sneered. His body began to warp and surge with terrifying aura as he shifted into his second form. With a twisted, villainous grin, his ancient image faded, transitioning directly into the chaotic present day. Back in the central arena, where Ishori stood smiling, satisfied after blasting a hole straight through Ryu, Shishori hovered in midair, trembling in complete and total shock. As she stared down at Ryu's limp body, a memory flashed through her mind, the conversation where Ryu looked her in the eye and told her she was more than just a tool or a weapon. She remembered the soft way he had smiled, asking her what kind of name Shishori even was before, telling her it sounded much better as Shaya. Down in the arena, Ishori let out a lazy, arrogant laugh. Man, do I really need to get rid of everything myself? Even this scum? Shishori's eyes snapped toward him, burning with pure, unadulterated hatred. She spoke not a single word. Ishori casually pointed his finger over at Raito. You're next, masked guy. At the base of the arena, deep inside Agi's subconscious, Daku the dragon growled in sheer desperation, calling his host's name over and over. A guy! A guy! Damn it! Wake up! The dragon cursed as Agi lay unconscious in the rubble. If only we had mastered the state where I could grant you my full power, this conqueror wouldn't be anything to us. Time to finish you off, Ishori taunted, raising his hand toward Raito. Teki. Boom! Before he could finish his phrase, a devastating, rage-fueled punch slammed straight into Ishori's face. Ishori shrieked in agony as the shockwave launched him backward, smashing him deep into the arena wall. Smoke and pulverized stone exploded everywhere. Standing where Ishori had been a millisecond prior was Shishori, her breathing heavy and her fists clenched. Without waiting for the dust to clear, Shishori dropped to the ground and rushed to Ryu's side. She gently pulled his head into her lap, tears welling up in her eyes. Ryu, no, don't leave me. Ryu's eyelids fluttered open slowly. He looked up at her tear-stained face and coughed up a splatter of blood. No. Shishori panicked, her voice shaking violently. Ryu's lips twitched upward into a faint, exhausted smile. Shia. Shishori froze, her breath catching in her throat at the sound of the name. Don't die here, she pleaded. Raito stepped up beside them, his voice calm and steady. He will not die. Raito extended his hand over Ryu's gaping chest wound, channeling his energy. Hoki! Kaijo! It was the exact same sealing technique he had previously used on Varatros. Instantly, the severe internal bleeding stopped, though Ryu remained critically weak. The bleeding has stopped, but he needs to be taken to the medics immediately, Raito instructed. They are arriving soon, but he needs treatment right away. Shishori stood up, her expression hardening as she looked back toward the wall. Stay calm, Ryu. I have business to settle. Ryu let out a weak, ironic chuckle from the ground. Oh, okay. I'll wait. He knew he couldn't even stand if he tried. Over in the crater, Ishori clawed his way out of the shattered wall, laughing maniacally through the blood on his face. Ooh, I heard everything, by the way. No one is going anywhere. Ishori rocketed out of the wall straight toward Ryu, his hand outstretched. D. Suddenly, a fierce kick snapped upward from below, striking Ishori square in the chin. It lacked the raw power of Shishori's strike, but the momentum was enough to launch Ishori flying upward into the air. Fuma landed heavily below, using the absolute last reserve of his physical strength, ninpo style. Spinning knife! Fuma roared, leaping up into the air after the airborne conqueror. Ishori opened his eyes midair, scoffing as he saw the incoming attack. This blade lost its spin. With brutal precision, Ishori executed a ruthless counterpunch straight into Fuma's chest, sending the ninja crashing violently down to the earth, groaning in sheer agony. While Ishori refocused, a blinding, holy white light began to glow furiously near Ryu. Raito didn't hesitate. He scooped Ryu up into his arms and began retreating from the arena floor. "I said no one is leaving!" Ishori bellowed, diving down toward Raito. Before he could reach them, a concentrated beam of white energy erupted from the glow, blasting Ishori straight backward through the air. Ishori skidded across the stone, completely enraged. "What the hell? You're going to use this level of power against your own comrade?" Standing between Raito and Ishori was Shishori, completely bathed in a towering column of blinding, radiant white light. Her eyes burned with absolute, unyielding fury. Ishori gritted his teeth, his face twisting in disbelief. "I can't believe this.